What are your two other prior convictions, Ms. Figueroa?
Uh, second degree rape and carnal knowledge of a 16-year-old.
Are those your prior felony convictions?
Oh, you're saying what I
Yeah,
had before?
you're
Because
you're a third felony offender, counting the one you're serving time for. So that means you have two. You had a simple robbery.
oh yes, body. I didn't sell anybody for drugs, and I never gave anybody no drugs. I gave somebody a ride from point A to point B, and I've been punished for the past 5 years, guilty until proven innocent. When there's proof that I'm innocent, and when I go to court this month or in February, they're gonna throw the charges out. This is not right.
Good. That's when you deal with it. All right. That's when you deal with it.
I mean, so I'm just it
Well,
making
you're
me sound
sir,
like I'm a monster
sir,
saying that I said this and I said.
sir.
Welcome to Get Your Life, where every crime has a story. Life with the possibility of parole. This story is about a 39-year-old man, Jayson Figueroa, who sex trafficked a 16-year-old girl. He drugged her, raped her, and held her captive for a couple of days. Once he was caught, he was sentenced to 18 years in prison. Here coming up is his parole hearing after serving almost 5 years in prison. Take a listen.
Good morning.
There you are. Good morning. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
My name is Jayson Lee Figueroa, DOC 407155. Merry Christmas.
So, Merry Christmas. Thank you. What was the DOC number again?
It's 407515.
Okay. Yes, that's right. Mr. Figueroa, you're classified as a third felony offender. You're currently serving an 18-year sentence as a habitual offender for obstruction of justice. You were sentenced in St. Tammany on November 7th, 2022. Your parole eligibility date has passed. It was August 14th, 2023. You don't earn good time, so your full term date is February 14th, 2037. Does all that sound right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your case has been assigned to Mrs. Jackson. Would you answer her questions?
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. God bless you this morning.
How old are you, Mr. Figueroa?
I'm 45.
And you're serving an 18-year sentence for obstruction of justice. Is that correct?
To be honest, it's attempt to obstruct, and it's being appealed as we speak. I should have never been sentenced. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And I show that you've been incarcerated approximately 4 years, 7 months.
Yes, ma'am.
What are your two other prior convictions, Ms. Figueroa?
Uh, second degree rape and carnal knowledge of a 16-year-old.
Are those your prior felony convictions?
Oh, you're saying what I had before?
You're a third felony offender, counting the one you're serving time for. So that means you have two. You had a simple robbery.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Simple robbery and
Well,
distribution. A distribution charge.
so, Ms. Figueroa, tell us what happened in the attempted obstruction of justice.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Tell me
TV.
what happened. What happened in the attempted obstruction case?
Oh, basically, I called my mom on the phone and I told my mom that I was incarcerated for an incident that I didn't do. And they say that I tried to obstruct justice, and I was found not guilty for obstruction of justice and found guilty of an attempt.
Well, that's, okay. Well, let me back up. There were two runaway juveniles, one 17 and one 16. You were in a photograph with both of those girls. When the police asked you about the girls, where they were, what you knew about the girls, you told them that you didn't know the girls. And then when you were presented information about the photographs they had of you with those girls, then you said that you picked them up and drove them to Bourbon Street. Correct?
No, ma'am. All I remember is giving them a ride somewhere.
Well, no, sir. Did you tell the police that you knew nothing about either of those girls?
Yes, ma'am.
But when they showed you the photographs, then you said you dropped them off on Bourbon Street. Is that correct?
I remember dropping them off in New Orleans.
Ms. Figueroa, you can play games all you want.
I'm not playing any games. I'm just telling you what I remember.
Oh,
You asked me questions that happened 5 years ago.
That you dropped them off after they showed you photographs, after you had denied even having seen or known them, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
at that point, they were trying to find the girls because they were runaways, their parents were worried, and they asked you to provide some additional information, and you refused to give them information. And then later, one of the girls was found in a motel room. And she told the police that you had provided her with a number of drugs, and that while she was drugged, you raped her, and that you were selling her to other men for them to have sex with her. And so as a consequence of that, you have pending charges of sex trafficking, second-degree rape, and carnal knowledge. And those charges are set for trial on March the 3rd of next year. Is that correct, that you have those charges pending and they are set for trial on March the 3rd of next year?
Yes, ma'am. I've been sitting in jail 5 years for charges I didn't commit. We had a DNA test, and for the past 5 years, please consider.
Sir, I'm not
Well,
here.
you're reading a police report that's falsified, and you're making me sound like I'm this monster. I didn't rape anybody. I didn't sell anybody for drugs, and I never gave anybody no drugs. I gave somebody a ride from point A to point B, and I've been punished for the past 5 years, guilty until proven innocent, when there's proof that I'm innocent. And when I go to court this month or in February, they're gonna throw the charges out. This is not right.
Good, that's when you deal with it.
All right, that's when you deal with it.
I mean, so it
Well,
making me sound like I'm a monster, saying that I said this and I said.
Sir, you were convicted of attempted obstruction of justice. You had a trial. A jury listened to the evidence and they found attempted obstruction. They didn't find you not guilty. They found you guilty of a lesser offense, and you were sentenced to 18 years in prison. And you are here today for a parole. You are asking this board to grant you early release. And you are on mute.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Can you hear us?
Can hear you now.
All right. We apologize. We don't know what's going on with the technical difficulties.
You
But yes,
went to
Yes,
You
ma'am.
went to trial, you were found guilty of attempted obstruction, and you received an 18-year sentence, correct? You were treated as a habitual offender, and you received an 18-year sentence. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. 18 years for a nonviolent charge. Correct.
Again, why should we let you out of jail, Mr. Figueroa?
First of all, I learned my lesson. Never again
What lesson did you learn?
to just not give anybody a ride from point A to point B.
Only thing you learned?
And that my fall partner that was incarcerated with me, he was younger than me. I had my own construction company. He lived with me for a little while. And at the end of the day, I shouldn't mix my I shouldn't allow people that work with me stay with me. I mean, 5 years in prison is a long time for something you didn't do, but I've learned that you can't trust anybody. You can't just show love to everybody. It's not right. Because this is what happens. My mom used to tell me all the time, if you can't be nice to everybody, bite you on the ass. Here I am 5 years later. I've learned my lesson. They said that I attempted to obstruct because I called my mom on the phone and I told her the truth about the matter, never hiding the matter.
Figueroa, that's not why you're charged with obstruction. You're charged with obstruction because when the police were looking for those girls, you at first denied even knowing them. And then they received information that you not only had picked them up, as you said, you had taken one of them to a motel.
I've
Now,
never taken anyone to no motels. That's what the police report says. If you're asking me if I learned my lesson, I learned my lesson. Yes, ma'am. No one deserves 18 flat years for nonviolent crime. It's not right.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Corporal, is there anything you want to add about Mr. Figueroa?
While he's been incarcerated, he has not had a disciplinary record at all.
Good to hear. Thank you, sir. Mr. Figueroa, is there a brief statement you'd like to make before we vote?
I was here for almost 5 years. For almost a year and a half, I was a tutor. All I do is try to help everyone in the dorm. I preach the word of Christ every day, prayer call every night. I always tell people to do what's right when no one's looking. I'm 45 years old. Yes, I was incarcerated for attempt to obstruct, but the allegations that I'm fighting are all they're fake. It was all made up. I pray every day for the victim. She said that things happened to her. That was not my fault. I'm begging y'all. My mom's about to pass away. So let me go home and be a grandpa to my kids and continue to live this life that I'm living for Jesus.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate your remarks. Is the panel prepared to vote? Mrs. Jackson?
Ms. Figueroa, I'm not sure what lessons you've learned, but I'm not convinced that you've learned any at all. You keep referring to this as a nonviolent offense, but a 17 or a 16-year-old girl was subjected to something that person should not have been subjected to.
Well, with all due respect, ma'am, I gave someone a ride. I never gave anyone any drugs.
Figueroa?
Yes, ma'am.
Wasn't a question. She's finishing her vote.
Mr. Figueroa, I don't think you're ready. I don't think you've had any programming that really addresses your underlying issues. You do have pending charges, and those are set for trial shortly. And so my vote today is to deny.
Mr. Rocha?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Figueroa. When an offender was facing pending charges for child trafficking for sexual purposes I'm not about to release you. Therefore, I'm going to deny your request.
Mr. Figueroa, my vote is also to deny for the same reasons that's already been stated. So today, sir, your parole's been denied. We wish you well. Good luck to you.
So I have a question.
Concludes our business, I believe, at your facility. We're going to sign out at 9:47.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos and content.